Welcome to part 6 of 10 in the series from my graduate course, Research Methods and Communication. In this video, we dive into the discussion section of a scientific article, a key component in presenting your research with clarity and impact. This series is designed to empower you with a deeper understanding of scientific writing so you can communicate your work effectively. For a comprehensive mastery of this skill, I encourage you to explore the other sections available on my YouTube channel. Let's strengthen your scientific writing together. The discussion section of a scientific paper is where the results of the study are interpreted, contextualized, and woven into the broader narrative of existing research. This section allows the author to express insights about the findings, explore the implications, and suggest future directions for research. Here's how to effectively structure and write the discussion. Interpretation of results is the main purpose of this section. It is the core of the discussion. The authors explain what the results mean in the context of the study. It's important to address whether the results met the study's hypotheses or expectations. Any unexpected findings are also explored here. Linking and comparing the findings of the research with existing literature is crucial as it highlights consistencies or discrepancies between the two. This process not only situates the new research within the broader body of knowledge, but also helps determine whether the results support or challenge current understanding. Such comparisons offer valuable insights into the relevance and impact of the study, contributing to the ongoing development of the field. Implication of the research elaborates on the significance of the results, addressing what these findings mean for the field. It explores how the results can influence future research, policy, or practice. This section is often where the broader impact of the research is discussed, providing insights into its potential to shape ongoing developments and contribute to real-world applications. Limitations do exist in every study, and the discussion section should address them openly. Limitations might relate to the study design, methodology, sample size, or external factors that could influence the results. Discussing limitations is vital for transparency and helps frame the reliability and generalizability of the results. For future work, authors often suggest areas for further study based on the results and limitations of their research. This might include refining methods, exploring questions that arose during the study, or testing the findings in different settings or populations. While some papers include a separate conclusion, many integrate it into the discussion. This summary should succinctly encapsulate the main findings, their importance, and the principal conclusions drawn from the research. The discussion is essential for situating a study within the scientific community and for guiding future research directions. The discussion section of a scientific article is critical for interpreting results, contextualizing findings, and discussing their implications. It builds upon the results section by explaining what the findings mean in light of existing research, the hypothesis, and the broader field. Here are the key elements of a discussion section, explained in detail. Summary of key findings should briefly highlight the most important results without reiterating all the data from the results section. Focus on the key points that directly support your research questions or objectives. Ensure that the summary is closely tied to the research question or hypothesis introduced earlier, making it clear how the findings address or test them. The aim is to present a concise yet meaningful conclusion that links the results to the research aims. Interpretation of results involves providing a detailed explanation of why the outcomes occurred and how they fit into the broader field of study. This requires placing the findings within a theoretical framework, helping to clarify their significance and showing whether they align with or challenge existing theories. Through this interpretation, it becomes possible to highlight any new insights or novel contributions to the field, including unexpected results or discoveries that may challenge current understanding. This analysis deepens the understanding of the phenomenon under investigation and positions the research within the larger scientific discourse. Comparison with previous studies involves discussing how the current findings align or contrast with earlier research. It is essential to acknowledge both the consistencies and discrepancies, identifying trends or notable inconsistencies within the literature. When differences arise, possible explanations should be provided, which may include variations in methodology, sample size, experimental conditions, or analytical techniques. This comparison helps to contextualize the new findings and enhances the understanding of how they fit within the existing body of research. Implications of the findings focus on how the results contribute to the current state of knowledge in the field. This includes any theoretical implications or contributions to a specific area of science. Additionally, practical or real-world applications of the findings should be explored, especially in applied fields like engineering or medicine. For example, the results may influence industrial processes, medical treatments, or policymaking. In some cases, broader implications for society, policy, or ethics may arise, and these should be discussed if applicable. Highlighting the potential impact of the research beyond its immediate context. Limitations of the study must be acknowledged, as no research is without constraints. Identifying factors such as small sample size, methodological limitations, or assumptions made demonstrates an honest and critical reflection on the research process. It is important to discuss how these limitations may have influenced the results or their interpretation, as this shows a balanced and comprehensive understanding of the study's scope. Recognizing these boundaries provides context for the findings and helps guide future research efforts. Suggestions for future research should focus on identifying gaps in the current study and proposing directions for further investigation. This may involve improvements in methodology, exploring different research perspectives, or considering additional variables that were not addressed. Based on the study's findings and limitations, new hypotheses may emerge that warrant testing in future work. By outlining these areas for continued exploration, the research can contribute to advancing knowledge and refining understanding in the field. In conclusion, the significance of this research lies in its contribution to advancing knowledge within the field. The key findings underscore the study's importance and demonstrate its relevance in the broader scientific context. While the results provide valuable insights, it is crucial to avoid overgeneralization or extending claims beyond what the data can justify. Nonetheless, this research represents a meaningful advancement, with its implications offering a foundation for future exploration and further study. Balance of objectivity and interpretation is essential when analyzing research findings. While interpretation plays a crucial role, it is important to remain objective and avoid drawing conclusions that are not directly supported by the data. All interpretations should be firmly grounded in the results or backed by referenced literature. Speculative statements without supporting evidence should be avoided, ensuring that the analysis remains accurate, reliable, and within the bounds of what the data can legitimately support. Maintaining this balance enhances the credibility and integrity of the research. Implications for policy or practice, if applicable, should be clearly articulated, especially in fields such as healthcare, engineering, or environmental science, where the findings may directly impact policymakers, practitioners, or industry. If relevant, highlight how the results can inform policy decisions, influence best practices, or drive innovation in industrial processes. Clearly outlining these practical implications ensures that the research not only advances academic understanding but also offers tangible benefits for real-world applications. Coherent structure is vital to ensure that the discussion flows logically and effectively. Begin by interpreting the key findings, followed by a comparison with existing literature to contextualize the results. Next, discuss the broader implications, acknowledge any limitations of the study, and conclude by suggesting directions for future research. Adopting this clear and organized structure enables readers to easily follow the argumentation and reflection, enhancing their understanding of the research and its significance. A well-structured discussion strengthens the overall impact of the study. The writing style of the discussion section in a scientific article is crucial for clearly conveying the significance, interpretation, and implications of the research findings. While the style must maintain scientific rigor and clarity, it should also be accessible and engaging for the reader. Here's a detailed breakdown of the writing style for the discussion section. Clarity and precision are essential in the discussion section. The writing must be clear, concise, direct, avoiding vague statements or overly complex sentences. Each sentence should communicate a specific point that contributes to the overall argument, rather than using general phrases like, "The results are interesting." Specify what makes them significant. For instance, say, "The results reveal a novel mechanism of enzyme regulation that diverges from previously established pathways." This approach ensures that your discussion is both meaningful and impactful, offering precise insights that enhance the reader's understanding. Formal and objective tone is crucial in the discussion section. adhering to scientific conventions and maintaining professionalism throughout. Avoid casual or colloquial language, for example, replace phrases like, "we figured out," with, "we determined," or "we identified." The tone should remain objective, with interpretations grounded in data or reference literature rather than personal opinions. Refrain from using phrases such as, "I believe," or "we think," unless discussing theoretical implications or hypotheses. Additionally, avoid emotional language or exaggerations, and refrain from using superlatives like groundbreaking or revolutionary. Sticking to factual and measured statements to convey the significance of the findings. Logical flow and organization are crucial in the writing of the discussion section. Start by summarizing the key findings, followed by their interpretation, a comparison with existing literature, an acknowledgement of limitations, and a conclusion that outlines future research directions. This structured approach ensures that the reader can easily follow your reasoning and argumentation. To maintain a smooth flow, use transitional phrases like, "in contrast to previous studies," or "these findings support the hypothesis that." Transitions guide the reader through your arguments, preventing the discussion from becoming fragmented or disjointed. This clarity enhances the overall coherence and impact of your discussion. Balance in writing. Interpretation versus objectivity is crucial in the discussion section. While interpretation is necessary, it's important to avoid overinterpreting the results. Refrain from making broad generalizations based on limited data, for instance, rather than stating, "This finding proves," pick for more measured language like, "This finding suggests," or "This finding may indicate." Present your interpretations with balance, confidently stating support for a hypothesis while acknowledging any uncertainties or alternatives explanations. Scientific writing values nuance, so be careful not to overstate your conclusions, ensuring that your claims remain grounded in the evidence. Use of evidence seamlessly is key when comparing your findings with previous studies. Cite relevant literature to support your interpretations, demonstrating that they are grounded within the broader scientific context. Rather than simply listing studies, integrate them into your narrative. For example, our findings align with those of Smith et al. 2020, who also observed an increase in cell proliferation under similar conditions. Additionally, ensure that any statements about your findings are backed by specific data. Instead of generalizing with phrases like, "the experiment was successful," refer to concrete results, such as, "the experiment resulted in a 50% increase in yield, indicating success." This approach strengthens your argument and enhances the credibility of your discussion. Critical and reflective writing is another key component of the discussion section. Beyond simply describing what the results mean, you should engage in a critical evaluation of their implications, limitations, and significance. This involves questioning your own findings, addressing unexpected outcomes, and considering potential biases that may have influenced the results. Transparency is essential, so be open about any limitations in your study. For instance, the small sample size may limit the generalizability of the findings. Such critical reflection enhances the credibility of your research, demonstrating that you have thoroughly and thoughtfully considered its scope and constraints. Moderate hedging is essential in scientific writing, particularly in the discussion section, to avoid presenting interpretations or implications with overconfidence. Use phrases such as "may suggest," or "could indicate," or "is likely" when the results are not conclusive, ensuring a balanced tone. However, avoid excessive hedging, which can weaken your argument. For example, instead of saying, "this might perhaps indicate," for the more balanced select, "this may indicate." When discussing strong results, use cautious yet confident language, acknowledging the need for further testing while highlighting the strength of your data. For instance, "the data strongly suggests that X is a key factor in Y, though additional research is required to confirm this." This approach maintains credibility while appropriately expressing the certainty of your findings. First-person versus passive voice is an important consideration in modern scientific writing. While passive voice was traditionally preferred, it is now more acceptable to use the first person, or "we," when describing your own work, particularly in the discussion section. For instance, phrases like, "we found that," or "we propose that," can make the writing more engaging and clearer. However, avoid overusing the passive voice, as it can make the text convoluted and harder to follow. Instead of saying, It was observed that, say, we observed that, to provide clarity and directness in your writing. Balancing the use of the first person with precise language enhances readability and maintains professionalism. Avoid repetition in the discussion section. It should not merely restate the results section. While summarizing key findings is appropriate, the emphasis should be on interpretation, meaning, and broader implications. Use this section to provide insights into what the data reveal and how they contribute to the larger body of knowledge, rather than repeating specific numerical results. This approach shifts the focus from simply presenting data to explaining its significance, offering a deeper understanding of the study's impact and relevance within the field. Tense usage is sometimes confusing in scientific writing, but it is important to apply the correct tense for clarity and consistency. Use present tense when discussing established knowledge or general findings in the field. For example, these findings suggest that X plays a role in Y. When referring to specific results from your own study, switch to past tense, such as, we found that the treatment led to a 20% increase in efficiency. Lastly, use future tense when suggesting directions for future research, as in, future studies will need to explore. Correct tense usage helps to clearly differentiate between existing knowledge, your findings, and future research. Concise writing without losing depth is a goal for the discussion section. Avoid unnecessary words or overly long explanations that do not add value to your argument. While being concise, don't oversimplify complex ideas. Ensure that you thoroughly explain significant interpretations or comparisons, but without being verbose. Engagement with the reader in the discussion section is achieved by clearly connecting the study's findings to broader concepts, encouraging reflection on the implications, and guiding the reader through a thoughtful interpretation of the results in the context of existing research. Phrasing like, "This research could have important implications for," helps the reader understand the relevance. While technical terms are necessary, avoid excessive use of jargon that might alienate readers unfamiliar with the niche aspects of the topic. Aim for clarity even when discussing complex ideas. Final tips for writing the discussion section. Be concise yet thorough. Avoid lengthy repetitions of results and instead focus on delivering clear, concise interpretations that add depth to the discussion. Prioritize meaningful insights that directly address the research objectives, offering well-supported explanations and reflections. By keeping the analysis focused and purposeful, you ensure that each point contributes to a deeper understanding of the findings without unnecessary repetition, making the discussion more engaging and impactful for the reader. Use evidence. Always substantiate your statements with evidence, either by referencing data from your study or by drawing from established literature. This reinforces the credibility of your arguments and ensures that your conclusions are well-founded and supported by reliable sources. Providing solid evidence strengthens the overall integrity and persuasiveness of your research. Be critical but constructive. While acknowledging the limitations, present the discussion in a constructive manner by offering potential future steps or research directions. This approach not only demonstrates a critical understanding of the study's constraints, but also emphasizes its potential to inspire further exploration and improvement. By framing limitations as opportunities for advancement, you contribute to the ongoing development of knowledge in the field. In summary, the discussion section is where you demonstrate the significance of your findings, critically analyze their meaning, relate them to existing literature, acknowledge limitations, and propose directions for future research. A well-crafted discussion not only helps interpret your results, but also situates your study within the broader scientific dialogue. An example can effectively illustrate a good writing style in the discussion section. Our findings suggest that X is a critical factor in Y. This conclusion is supported by the observation that X increased by 30%, which aligns with previous studies. Smith et al., 2020. However, due to the limited sample size, further research is needed to confirm these results in broader populations. This study provides an important first step toward understanding Z, with implications for developing future interventions. This example demonstrates clarity and precision in stating findings, a formal and objective tone, acknowledgement of limitations, use of evidence to support claims, engagement with the broader implications of the research. In summary, The writing style of the discussion section should balance scientific rigor with clear and engaging communication. It involves precise language, a formal tone, logical organization, critical reflection, and careful interpretation. The goal is to explain the significance of the findings while maintaining objectivity and transparency, allowing the reader to understand the broader impact of the research. We have covered the basics of the discussion section, but this is just the beginning. With more practice and by reading additional articles, you will continue to improve your skills. Now, let's move on to the conclusion section. Thank you very much for thoroughly watching the discussion sections of Anatomy of an Academic Article. To deepen your understanding, I highly encourage you to watch the next video titled Anatomy of an Academic Article Conclusion. This video provides a detailed overview of the key components essential to understanding the conclusion section of academic article. Your engagement is appreciated, and I hope you find this video both informative and beneficial.